Hello, everyone. My name is Josh, and this is the Skype for Business recap. It is a Friday to the end of a very busy week. Glad to be at that finish line. I'm not sure about you all, but I definitely will need the couple days of brief rest that are coming up here. Um, Looking to what's ahead of this episode, normally I've got a bunch of big hints on the board in back of me here. As you can see, that's a little bit different today. We've got one thing on the board, and we'll get to what that's about and why only one thing in a minute. I'm not going to only talk about one thing, but again, we'll get to that in just a moment. Before we dive into content, let's talk a little bit about events, aka Ignite. That's pretty much the event coming up. There are still some regional and local user groups happening across the U.S. and potentially in other places of the world for the third quarter or second half of the year, however often that particular group does it. So look around if you're looking to attend one of those. The Austin group went well this last time. My big news for the group was that I am handing the reins over to that group to Thad Trussler. So Thad, thank you so much for taking on the Austin group. I know you're going to do well with it, and the group is in good hands there. And I will hopefully be kicking off a new group coming up in the um, Tampa Bay, Florida area here in the next, hopefully, Q4. So big changes for me on the user group front. But anyway, moving past that, Ignite. We're at the end of August. It is the 25th today. We are going to be in September next week, and Ignite is at the end of September. So it is time to finalize your travel plans. It is time to get your schedules put together. Even if you're not an attendee, you still should be going and looking at the list, finding out which sessions are ones you really want to catch and not miss, and then getting them on your calendar so that you can watch them streamed as the episode or as the session is taking place. So I mean, you can block off time on your calendar so that you're not being bugged by other stuff to watch, a very important session of from a conference that happens once a year, and it's going to be a big year for. Oh, phone is going nuts now. All right. It's going to be a big year for Skype for Business and Teams. I think just looking at the titles of what we've got session wise, I mean, Skype for Business Server vNext, about a dozen or more sessions that have the Teams and Skype for Business in the same name. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they're obviously planning to talk about and dig into here. So really looking forward to being there myself and watching all the news as it unfolds. Um, okay, so Ignite. Ignite's coming up. Get ready. Let's move past Ignite over to our content, shall we? Infinity screen, and there we go. Okay, so here we are. This is what we've got on the board. The UC Architects with their Twitter handle up there, the only one I put on the board today, and that is because I wanted to just give a brief tribute to a legendary podcast in the Microsoft UC community that has recorded its final episode. Episode 64, as we see on this page here, is indeed the last the UC Architects podcast episode, and it is truly the end of an era. To start with, I just want to, on behalf of all the rest of the community, say a big thank you to the entire UC Architects crew. All of you guys have been an incredible influence on those of us in the community who have been paying attention and trying to keep up and find our way with OCS and Link and Skype for Business and Teams now, and it's been a wild ride, and you guys have been a cornerstone in that community. So thank you for all you've done, and we certainly want to wish you all the best on your future social community endeavors as you each move on from this point. This last episode was, of course, hosted by none other than fellow MVP Pat Richards, and then we had Tom Arbuthnot on there as well, Stale Hansen, and John Cook. And then, as they made note down here, Andrew Price has edited it like usual, and it was a little bit of a smaller list here on the topics. Usually, they have a very big laundry list, but as you can imagine, they spent a little time reflecting and looking back over the years and kind of talking about what's next for each of them and why they've come to this decision. But very good episode. I encourage you all to go and take it's a 40-minute episode. Listen to it while you're cranking out part of a deployment or whatever it is you're doing. They've got a great thing going back and forth. We're gonna miss hearing their conversation. My name may have come up once or twice, and there were some kind words, but also some semi-accusatory words. And I just want to say, for the record, I had nothing to do with them, reaching the end of this podcast. I'm very sad to see this day come. So please, no one look at me and think it's my fault. Even though John Cook might very much argue that point, it wasn't me. So I just want to air that. I want to put it out there right now. um, it's been a great thing to listen to every time a new podcast comes out. I'm there listening to it in the midst of what I'm doing. So we'll miss you guys, and looking forward to seeing those of you that are going to be at Ignite. It'll be good to catch up, grab a beer or two, and see how things have evolved over the next month or so here. But and before we move on from the UC Architects podcast, let's go down here and take a look. This is episode 64. Okay. We go down here and click on the last page of this blog format here. Episode 1, in the beginning, June 17th, 2012. They have been cranking out this podcast for over 5 years. That is incredible. That is truly commendable. You guys have seen a lot in the Microsoft UC community change over that time. And again, we can do nothing but thank you for all that you've given and wish you all luck on what's ahead for each of you. All right. Let's move on before I get all choked up here. All right. Following that up with one of the UC architects themselves, Pat Richard, he had a tweet out here a few days ago that he put this out? I think so. The 23rd, 2 days ago. He said it's alive. The Skype for B prereq script support for Windows 2016 plus a ton of updates. So if you're not familiar with his script for installing all the prereqs for a deployment, making your life that much easier and your deployment that much quicker. He has a great script for that, amongst about 75 billion other scripts on his website. And so he gave us a little screenshot here of what's in the works. Our little set-cs feature script, a little view of what it looks like here. And notice we are on Windows Server 2016. So this is a very exciting thing to hear. He tells us to kind of stay tuned and look for it soon. If we go over to his site, which is ucunleashed.com, and the scripts page, we can go and see that script right down here. The last update was May 15th, so we should be seeing a new update out here pretty soon. Keep an eye on it, watch for it. Follow him on Twitter if you don't, so that you know when that hits, when it drops. But like he says, the script is for installing the prerequisites and many additional features, configs, and add-ons for Link Server 2013 and Skype for Business Server 2015. And like I said, a ton of other scripts here for you to take a look at and help make your life simpler in managing Skype for Business. We have Link Skype for Business up top, Exchange down here, and then some other miscellaneous scripts. He's done a lot of scripting. So there's that. Check out the link in the YouTube video description and enjoy. Next up, Attendant Pro has a Q3 update that came out from Landis Technologies. We have a quick summary here of the Q3 2017 August update. Like they mentioned in the blog post here, those with Attendant Pro Q2 2017 will get an in-app notification of the update available as well. The updates, we have a good long list of them here, so I'm not going to go through each one of them. But the one they put at the top I liked quite a bit, alerting a user when a call is on hold too long. Definable hold times. I love that. That can be, I hate being the one on the other side. Who doesn't? Being on the other side of a long hold time. It sucks. So helping your organization not be guilty of that, that's a good thing. We've got a number of other fixes and updates here as well. Then we got the Attendant Pro now allows call details to be uploaded for centralized reporting. This allows the manager to monitor a group of Attendant Pro receptionists and a combined report, centralized manager analytics and reporting. Super cool to see that. That is a really neat new update. So, if you are an Attendant Pro customer and any of these updates or any of what you see in here looks good to you, it's time to update. And if you don't have Attendant Pro, and or any other tool that meets these needs, or maybe meets some of these needs but all of them, and you need it, then check out the site, see what they might be able to get for you based on this feature list. Great job on keeping the tool updated. We love seeing these quarterly updates roll out, guys. So good stuff there. Last, a little bit of Teams and Yammer news. This blog post was put out on blogs.technet.com about connecting and integrating Yammer to Microsoft Teams, a how-to configure article. This is pretty newish stuff here, so I wanted to call this post out. Just for the record, there are a number of other really good how-to blog posts that I saw hit Twitter over the last week or two here. A lot of people really putting in a lot of work to, telling us how to do this, how to do that, and it's all new content about the latest having to do with hybrid environments and Office 365 or cert-based authentication. Really good stuff out there. So go out to Twitter if you're looking for more info. Type in the hashtag Skype4B, and you will see a plethora, a wealth of information on what's new and how to do it all. This one, though, this is pretty cool. If you're not already familiar with Teams and connectors, then shame on you. But here's a little breakdown on how we're going to go through and add in a Yammer feed to a connector within a team. So first, in our example here, we see a team has been created, IT support, with a Yammer feed channel. We then click the ellipsis and select connectors. Okay, we're going to, in the dialog box that appears, we're going to browse the list of apps from Microsoft Teams, and we're going to type in the search Yammer and then click configure. All right. We're going to log in. It's going to use SSO to log us in. Okay, so we're getting Yammer set up here. Now what we're going to do, we want the Teams channel to be notified anytime someone creates a new conversation in Yammer in the IT support group. All right. So in the Follow Yammer groups, type IT support and select New Conversations. So this is going to tell us when the Yammer group has a new conversation that pops up. In the Yammer user field, we're going to leave it blank. For keywords, again, they left that all blank. Select New Conversations and click Save. Then we go and we see this is set up down here. Pretty cool. Back in our Teams interface. So then in this blog post, they move along to demonstrate going into, also an update within the chat thread for the channel has been posted about the new Yammer integration. Now going over to Yammer, they create a new conversation in the IT support group, and back in Teams, that pops up and shows right in that feed that a new conversation has started in Yammer. Like it says here, from here, you can like the post or click View Conversation to pop it out to Yammer and view the post. So if you try to view the conversation and get involved, you can't really do that within Teams. It is going to pop out of Teams into Yammer, and you'll work there. Similar to the way it is right now if you want to edit a Word or other Office document, or several other tools that you can view and see within Teams, but when it comes to actually editing and working with it in depth, it pops you out into the application itself. Stays in sync, but it is what it is. So great blog post, very informative, great detail on the step-by-step and screenshots. So great job, Matt. Well done on the blog post. For those of you that are huge Yammer supporters, and I know a lot of you are out there, this is, I think, going to be a big deal for you that those of you that are also trying to really adopt Teams. Which, if you're not trying to adopt Teams at this point, I would suggest that you start trying to adopt Teams. It's gaining a lot of steam, being talked about a lot at Ignite. So I can see nothing but Teams and Skype for Business and a close relationship there in our future. That's the feeling I'm getting. You take a look at all the sessions published on the Ignite website, and you tell me if you feel the same. But all right, let's move along. Let's go back to our Infinity screen. that is all I've got for today, guys. I will wrap this up with, again, a very big thank you to the UC Architects team. You guys have been phenomenal. Thanks for the last 5 years. Look forward to seeing all the other stuff that's coming from you over the next several years and your individual endeavors. And who knows? It'd be cool if we saw some other sort of podcast emerge out of all this with some of you guys, or whatever the case may be. We welcome whatever types of activities you guys are thinking you want to throw our way. Um, that's all I've got. Thank you guys. Have a good restful weekend. Keep planning that Ignite schedule, and we will see you back here in a week or so. Adios.